How do I find help for point command.unix? I need to find help for point command, such as in, /my_script.sh, I mean the first point. I have already tried to find a man page using man. And man. How can I display a man page in which it explains the use of command,
First of all, you should invoke type. You will probably get something like, built-ins are parts of your shell, they don't have their own manual pages. Some of them may seem to have them though. For example, echo is a built-in in bash, but most likely there is a separate executable like /bin/echo in your system, and in this case, man echo refers to the latter. These two echoes are probably not strictly equivalent. Your shell may provide information about any built-in via help built-in, try, help type, and finally. Built-ins may also be listed in your shell's manual page. For example, in my Debian, bash built-ins are covered directly in man bash, yet for ZSH built-ins, man ZSH tells me to run man's built-ins. In general, shells may or may not explain their built-ins.
Try using man sh or man bash or the man page for whatever shell you are using. Maybe man $shell. This is officially not called the point command, but the source command. Searching for the word source may be helpful. For example, bash man page, search for each built-in command, and you'll quickly find the documentation. As for explaining the use, I can do that right here. I will just refer to this as the source command, recognizing that it can be abbreviated to just a period when you're using some shells, and with some shells that command might need to be, because might be recognized but the entire word source might not be. If you use the source command, your shell will read each line from the script file, and try to execute it. You need read permissions on the file. It doesn't matter if you have execute permissions, if you modify a variable, that is prone to affecting your current shell. If, on the other hand, you just try to execute the file, then your shell will ask the operating system to and NBSP, take care of this request. This will require execute permissions. On some systems, like Opens, you won't need read permissions for this. On other systems, including many Unix variations, you will. The file may need to start with an appropriate header, for example, #!bin/sh, so the operating system recognizes this to be a script file. The operating system will execute a copy of the requested shell, and tell that shell to run the contents of the script. If the shell environment is changed, for example, a variable gets a new value, the working directory is changed, with and NBSP, cd, a file descriptor is redirected, with and NBSP, exec, etc. It will impact only the subshell that was called for the script, and can't modify the environment in the parent shell that called the script file.
No one else has mentioned it, as it's often forgotten. Your biggest clue would have come from the helpful command whatis. Edit. Some people have pointed out in the comments that this isn't in some distributions. Maybe it's an installable package, or enabled somehow. I had it by default in Gentoo Smile. It includes the wonderful which tells you which executable is called, and where I switch gives you all the paths to a executable you name, and its man pages, if it exists in multiple paths.
Man source will show the explanation that you need. The dot is the same as the source command. Source executes the script in the current shell instead of in a subshell. It's the usual way. Using source, the variables set inside the script are preserved after the script is finished.
Unix